Today I'm going to go over 5 poor money beliefs I had growing up, how I overcame it to start building wealth. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Davi, a first-gen teacher who grew up low income, and now I'm on track to retire at 45 with a goal of retiring with a 1.25 million nest egg. I've built a net worth of $150,000, and part of it is money, but the second and bigger part is your mindset. Growing up in an Asian immigrant household, these are the financial values that my family instilled in me. Work hard, save money, don't take risk, and don't take on debt. While this approach gave me strong financial habits such as saving money and living below my means, it also created limiting money beliefs that kept me from creating and building wealth. Let's get into the first money belief, that money is evil. Growing up, I heard money is the root of all evil. And to me, I saw a lot of evidence of this growing up and confirming my bias that money is evil. My family members fought over money when they borrowed it. I saw very selfish politicians and very selfish and greedy millionaires and billionaires. However, money is a tool. And a lot of rich people are very generous. Money can just amplify the person you already are. If a person's already greedy and selfish, with more money, they'll become more greedy and selfish. When a person's already generous and they have more money, they'll become even more generous and giving. An inanimate object cannot be evil. People are evil. But jokes aside, money is merely a tool. I view money as a tool to leverage my time and my skills. The reason why this myth is so limiting is because growing up, I didn't want to be evil, right? I associated people having money as evil or selfish. So I thought if I have money, then I'm going to be evil and selfish. And those were not the values that I wanted. Growing up with this limiting belief, I only stuck to couponing and saving and wasn't really growing any type of substantial wealth. What made me change my way of thinking was really looking at the statement and realizing how irrational and judgmental this statement is. Once I realized that money is made up and we replaced it in terms of bartering and trading, I realized it's just like a value system. Like you're trading your time for work or you're trading your work for value. Number 2, rich people are greedy and selfish. Again, this kind of ties into number 1. I feel like growing up, society, TV, media, and family values taught me people with money are greedy and they have too much and they don't share. And then growing up, seeing examples of CEOs and business people who don't pay their fair share of taxes, don't pay carbon taxes and things like that, I really associated people with money to be evil or greedy people. However, I started to challenge that idea because that's an overgeneralization, an oversimplification, and a stereotype actually. So it's not rational at all. There are plenty of rich people who are generous and giving with their money. They donate, they contribute to organizations, philanthropy, and they use their money to help people and they use it for good. And again, I think what happened for me in order to change this mindset was I just deconstructed this belief, right? For example, it's unfair to say that a select group of people or a race or of an ethnicity of people are quote unquote, let's say stupid, right? If you think about it, in every race or in every age group or class, people have these qualities, right? So it's not a rich thing for people to be selfish. It's not a poor thing for people to be selfish. It's like a human thing, right? And anybody from any group can have these qualities. So I just kind of checked myself with that belief and just told myself, you have to be real. This is kind of an excuse or limiting mindset, money belief that I'm having and placing judgment on people so I can feel better because I don't have money. Well, back then, right? When I was younger and naive, from my understanding, it was an easy way to put judgment onto rich people for having money instead of focusing on myself and me not having money, if that makes sense. The third limiting money belief is I don't deserve to be rich. That is me being greedy. I feel like this one runs deep. I am a child of immigrants. My family is Cambodian and they immigrated to the States in the 1980s. And we grew up low income. We had Social Security, my grandparents did. We had Medi-Cal and food stamps. So I've learned and been conditioned to just accept what we have and to be grateful. By building wealth, I'm not just taking care of myself, I'm also taking care of my family. Ever since I learned how to invest into retirement accounts and into brokerage accounts, I've taught most of my friends and family how to do it. So now my parents can have a more comfortable retirement, and then my siblings, cousins, friends, and I are on track to also have a comfortable retirement as well. And to make an even bigger impact, that's why I create videos on YouTube and Instagram. I'm hoping that this information really spreads and help my community and beyond. I'm a teacher. We don't really teach finances at all in the middle school level. Maybe some schools and high schools great job. But at the middle school level, like a teacher has to have it as an elective for students to even get this type of exposure. So most people have Wi-Fi, well, at least in the US. So that's why I feel like at least with Wi-Fi and the internet, it's a little bit more accessible than it is in schools. I feel like this limiting money belief that people don't deserve wealth or I don't deserve wealth runs deep. And I feel like money, there's so much shame and guilt surrounded by money as well. Once I let go of this limiting belief, I started to learn how to invest, grow my business, and make money from side hustles. My potential and my capabilities of making money grew and ran wild. Also, another thing, I think the reason why a lot of us think this way is because even in school and life in general, we've been conditioned to be workers, right? We're trading our time for money. So I wonder too, like there's a lot of bosses who are exploitative, and I wonder if some of us don't want to be rich because we don't want to associate ourselves with exploitative people and bosses. And I also think that when you grew up poor and low income for a long time, when you start to make money, it just feels weird and we don't really know what to do with that new identity and new mindset. And I'm going to go over this a little bit more in Number 5. Anyway, once I let go of this limiting belief that I didn't deserve money, I had to repeatedly tell myself these affirmations. I deserve money. I deserve to be rich. It was really hard for me to accept that because it felt like a lie. But over time, when you start saying that and acting like a rich person, meaning you make money for yourselves, you make opportunities, you put yourself out there, then you really start to believe this and that you don't feel that much shame or guilt like I did in the past. I want you to comment below, have you felt any of these money limiting mindsets? If you had any of these limiting money beliefs, tell me below, how did you overcome them? Or what are you doing to overcome them now? The 4th limiting money belief is I have to be smart in order to invest or start a business. Or it's too hard to do that. I can't do that. I feel like folks who are rich tend to have a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. A growth mindset means that you think that qualities are not fixed. For example, people with a growth mindset believe that you can actually grow your intelligence and continue to learn to be smart. People with a fixed mindset believe that intelligence is innate, meaning that you were born rich or you were born smart and that you can't really change how smart you are. I feel like this belief of I have to be smart to invest or to even start making a business is such a fixed mindset. So switching it from let me just start and learn as I go, that's more of an abundant and also of a growth mindset. You do not have to have a master's in business or finance to start investing or to even start a business. Most people don't. Let me tell you the story of how I started investing. In 2019, I was a student teacher. I was learning to be a teacher. And I asked my master teacher, hey, can I observe other teachers? And luckily, I observed a woman and she was going over the crash of the stock market of the 1920s. And it was perfect. Because after the lesson, I asked her, hey, can you tell me a little bit more about stocks and investing? And she says, sure, you buy into a company and if they do well, then you get money back. And that's how I'm paying for my parents' dentures. Naturally, when I heard that, I was so interested and I asked her, okay, what can I do as my first steps? And she told me, well, my husband works at Qualcomm. You should look into Qualcomm, wink, wink. And I was like, okay. So the next day I opened a brokerage account with Robinhood and I bought 1 share of Qualcomm. And the next day it had increased like maybe 0.5%. And I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, this is investing. Like, how did I go without this for a long time? So ever since then I was hooked. So mind you, it was not really a good idea to start buying individual stocks as a beginner. Over time, I learned, I devoured books, podcasts, ebooks, and YouTube videos and learned, okay, I should probably buy some index funds as a beginner, right? So this story is to tell you that you do not have to be an expert or highly educated to start on anything. You just have to have the courage to start. And I understand it's scary to try something new. You don't want to lose your money. However, I took a calculated risk. The money that I invested in with Qualcomm was money that I was able to lose. Like I would not hurt or like not be able to get my next meal or pay my bills if I lost that money. I feel like an issue that a lot of beginners run into with investing is that they want to know everything before they take any action. And I'm sorry, that's not going to work. And I say this to women because there's been a study that shows that women would only apply to most jobs if they were 100% qualified. And I feel like with that kind of mindset, you lose so many opportunities. Like I did not wait until I was like a financial advisor or a certified financial planner in order to invest. I just bought something with money that I could afford to lose, and I just went with it. And I learned as I went. To sum the story up, I didn't know much about investing. I just took small steps and I learned as I went. I started buying index funds and having automatic transfers and investments, and my knowledge and expertise grew over time. The fifth limiting money belief that I overcame is, in order for me to win, someone has to lose. And conversely, if you say, if others are wealthy, there's less available for me. This is a super limiting money belief because this is looking at money and opportunities as a zero-sum game. In some of my theories, I feel like some of us think like this because, at least in the US, we have a very individualistic, like hyper-competitive, super addicted to working type of mindset. It's like a very capitalistic attitude is trying to get like so much value from a person and making sure we're in competition with each other. I could see where these thoughts come from because I feel like growing up, especially in the school system, we're taught to be competitive and not always collaborative. I used to think if I'm making money, I'm probably taking opportunities and money away from other people who could have had this. That is a lose-lose and scarcity mindset. I'm finally starting to think that there is enough money and opportunities for everyone. There's a seat at the table for everybody, at least at my table. I'm starting to let go of this belief because now that I'm in the creator space and making content creation, I went to FinCon in 2024. It's a big conference for content creators who do finance and other brands like that. And people there are so nice and collaborative. It's nothing like I expected. I kind of imagined it would be like really competitive. People would ask you how many followers you have, but it was not like that at all. If anything, rich people know that connections and networking is actually beneficial. That you networking and talking to people about, hey, did this brand also connect to you too? Or hey, how much money are you making from this contract? This is actually an abundant mindset and it helps everybody. For example, with brand deals, it really sucks if one person is going to undersell themselves to get a deal. Let's say an influencer accepts $500 for a brand deal, whereas they should be getting paid $2,000 for a brand deal. This would basically undercut the market and brands would expect influencers to get paid less than they actually deserve. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that when you get an opportunity, it is not hurting other people. It's helping you, and then you can use that opportunity to help others too. For example, I have a friend who's in IT, and I really admire that she's in IT. She's a woman of color, and it's a really difficult situation to be in. But there are so many people that she inspires who also want to be in IT. And my last line of reasoning for why some people think that you getting an opportunity means that they don't get an opportunity, I think comes from like growing up poor. So for example, right, I grew up low income, and I even use that in my tagline, to give people some context about who I am and where I'm from. I think there's a lot of guilt and potential shame when somebody is going to a different class, right? Like I was like low class and now I'm like lower middle class now. And that kind of takes away your identity. And maybe personally speaking, I used to think like, will people think I'm too good for them? How will people in my community perceive me now that I'm making more money? Am I going to get judged if I want to leave a ghetto neighborhood and go into a nicer neighborhood? Or am I expected to live in that same neighborhood and invest into my community and improve it? That's kind of a big burden to carry as well and to think about. Anyway, is it okay for me to leave the hood that I grew up in and want to live in a nicer neighborhood? So I feel like when people who grew up low income and go into the middle class or the upper classes, there's sometimes a sense of shame or guilt that comes with it as well. And I wonder if that's why it's hard to think, hey, if I take this bigger and better opportunity for myself, am I doing disservice to my community? Or do I need to get more skills like that, network with people like that so I can go back and bring this into my community? So anyway, I kind of struggle with that a little bit, but at the end of the day, if I want to think more abundantly and positively, I'm going to say, I'm taking these skills, meeting these people and networking, and I'm going to share it with my community so they know what's possible. Anyway, everybody, so to recap, these are the 5 limiting money beliefs, and I'm going to show you 5 different reframes we can use instead. 1, money is evil. The reframe is money is a tool so I can leverage for time and freedom, not a measure of morality. Number 2, rich people are greedy. Our reframe is wealth can be used for good, donating, mentoring, and taking care of your family. Number 3, I don't deserve to be rich. Reframe, everyone deserves to have financial security and abundance, including you. 4, I have to be smart to invest. Reframe, you don't have to be a genius to start investing. Just start. 5. For me to gain, someone else has to lose. Reframe. This world isn't always a zero-sum game. Growing wealth often leads to adding value and creating opportunities for others. Breaking these beliefs changed my life, and it can change yours too. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. Like, give me a follow, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!